Hello everyone, my name is Lorthorn and welcome to this mod showcase for Spellbound weapons, a mod by Lime Splattis for Minecraft version 1.21.1, Java Edition and Forge. This is a weapon mod that adds 20 new unique weapons to the game. However, they may not look like this for you, and that is because you also have to go to Lime Splattis' other mod page, which will be linked in the description, to add a resource pack to make it so all the weapons look nice and pretty. This Spellbound weapon mod adds weapons from magic wands to warped crossbows, powerful ender swords to weapons from Doom. Each one is unique, different, and has its own little gameplay tweaks, while not being overpowered, but rather just changing how you approach the game. This is not your typical mod, as it is more of a resource pack than a mod, meaning that the weapons are rather unconventional and unconventional to get. This dagger, for example, is in fact a shovel and is repaired through shovel means, which is highly confusing. To attain these items, one can either look up the wiki on how to obtain them in vanilla, or one can go /function. Then you will look up the Spellbound weapon list and press enter. This will give you the list of all the weapons from Spellbound weapons. Then you simply click on the weapon you want, and it will spawn that weapon into your inventory. Now, the vanilla way to get the dagger from Spellbound weapons is to either find it in a dungeon or monster room, or kill zombies. The zombies have an 8% chance to spawn with the dagger in their hand, so after a certain amount of zombies have been looked at, you will hopefully find one with a dagger. Then, of course, upon killing the one with the dagger, it will drop a damaged version of the dagger, which you can then use. Looking at the raw stats of the dagger, it deals less damage than a sword, but is slightly faster. While the dagger is slightly faster than the sword and deals slightly less damage, its main function is that whenever you hit a target, it gives you a slight speed boost to your movement speed, making it a slightly hit and retreat weapon, easier to back up from your targets after fighting them and maneuver around, quickly slapping things and running about. The dagger can be further enhanced by combining it in a cauldron with some water and a diamond. Doing this will give you a diamond dagger. This increases its damage and its durability. The dagger can then be further enhanced by enchantments. Dagger does not use normal enchantments from the sword tree, but rather enchantments from the shovels. Efficiency makes it so the dagger deals half a heart more damage, increasing its damage to higher than that of an iron sword when enhanced with a diamond. Fortune makes it so the speed boost you gain lasts a little bit longer, so you can hit a target and run around a little bit longer from that speed boost. If you apply Silk Touch to the dagger, it also gives you a minor jump boost, making it so you can jump just a little bit higher. The buff it gives you isn't the greatest, but it is a small functionality of the dagger, allowing you for slightly greater compatibility. I also find it fun to have a dagger for combat in Minecraft, so it's a nice way to approach it. Our next item is the Mega Hammer. The Mega Hammer is one of the items that cannot be crafted in any way or sort, but it can be found. The best way to find a Mega Hammer is inside a blacksmithy. There is a 100% guaranteed chance to find a Mega Hammer in a village blacksmith. The Mega Hammer is an axe and it deals high axe-like damage. Its main purpose is its critical hits will bury its enemies in the ground. When charged up and ready to go, if you jump and deliver a critical hit, it will drop an enemy in the ground, stopping its movement for a short amount of time. If you don't want to hit the target on the head, you can hit them straight forward without a crit, dealing massive knockback with the Mega Hammer. A fully charged Mega Hammer will also deal area of effect damage, hurting multiple targets in the area. However, its critical hit does not bury multiple targets. The Mega Hammer can also receive several enchantments to change up its stats. Sharpness will increase its damage, efficiency increases the charge speed, Fortune greatly increases the knockback. Silk Touch enchantment on the Mega Hammer will make it so its bury effect will hit multiple targets at once. Windsweeper is the first weapon we can actually craft. It is a rather complicated weapon requiring an iron sword, 2 diamonds, 4 feathers, 1 block of emeralds, and 1 sandstone, giving us Windsweep, a mystical mythic magic sword. Damage-wise, Windsweep is between a diamond and iron sword, even though being more expensive than both of them. However, its power comes from when you press crouch, it shoots out a gust of wind. This gust of wind pierces multiple targets, dealing damage and applying a brief effect to them. You can also look straight down and press shift to give yourself a boost in the air and then slow fall. Windsweeper's attack also applies slow for a short duration, making it good for controlling enemies in the area. Its wind gust is good for larger crowds as it can hit multiple ones, and if you align it correctly in a corner, it can hit them multiple times. You can give it the normal enchantments, but you can also give it Sweeping Edge like any other sword. However, for Windsweeper, Sweeping Edge makes it so the Wind Blast has a higher area of effect, and also the jump boost sends you up higher and faster. Our next weapon is also a crafted weapon, that being the blowgun. The blowgun shoots normal arrows, charging up rather fast and dealing 3 damage a hit. What's cool about the blowgun is the arrows do not stick into targets, so you can recover them after hitting your target. Its crafting recipe is rather simple, being a bone and a block of bamboo. A quick range weapon to be achieved in jungles if you are in a pinch. The only real enchantment it benefits from is Flame, making the arrows it fire flaming. What's nice is the flaming arrows can still be recovered after lighting a target on fire. If fired far enough, they will explode like a firework as they have a maximum range. This explosion can be used to deal damage to a group of enemies if you can parse it out correctly. The Sea Curse Blade is obtained by defeating an Elder Guardian. It has a 50% chance at dropping, and it is a stone sword equivalent. However, it is slightly broken, I've noticed. I feel like it's not dealing the full 5 damage a hit, which it supposedly is supposed to be doing. The Cursed Sea Blade's main utility is that it will attach a pufferfish to the target. If there is no targets nearby, it'll attach it to the player. However, for some reason, it attaches it hovering above the player's head. When used correctly, it should be against a group of enemies, which will then summon a salmon into the... It's bugged. It's just bugged. Our next weapon is the Blaze Blade. The Blaze Blade is crafted primarily through the Nether Fortress core. Nether Fortress core can be found in Nether Fortress chests. There's a small chance to spawn inside them. Every once in a while you'll find a Nether Fortress core. It can then be crafted into one of 2 swords, that being the Blaze Blade or the Wither Blade. The Blaze Blade crafting recipe requires an iron sword, the core, and some blaze powder. And then you want to put the items on top of a crafting table rather than inside. Once all on top of the crafting table, it'll give you some rather fancy effects and turn into a Blaze Blade. 8 damage, 0.8% attack speed. Main advantage of the weapon is it lights targets on fire. Very handy to cause them to burn. Besides lighting targets on fire, the other main thing that Blaze Blade has is after hitting targets, it has a chance to charge up, and you can hold down shift to release a flaming explosion. Putting fire aspect onto the Blaze Blade increases the amount of fire damage it deals, making its flaming aspect more dangerous to the targets it hits. The Wither Blade is crafted through Nether Fortress core, soul stand, and a diamond sword, all thrown on top of the crafting table. These again combine together, but in a nethery flavor this time, giving you the Wither Blade. The Wither Blade's damage is greater than that of a diamond sword, however it attacks slightly slower. Its sweep damage is higher though, as it is meant to be a great sword in design. Not as quite as damaging as the blade sword, but a little bit faster. It applies withering to the target, and after it has dealt a sufficient enough amount of damage to enemies, the sword's maximum souls will charge up. When it's charged in souls, you can hold down shift to heal yourself, making it a great weapon for sustained battles. Enchanting the sword with Sweeping Edge makes it so it deals wither damage to all nearby targets. The next weapon is the Invoker's Wrath. Invoker's Wrath is gotten from killing an Invoker. It is a guaranteed drop if you defeat an Invoker, and while not being at full durability, can be repaired with iron swords at the grindstone. Invoker's Wrath lets you have the Invoker's biting attack. Holding down Shift will send out a row of mouths, and whenever it's ready to go, it'll get a dripping effect along the blade. Dripping effect disappears when there's no bites to be given. Hitting a target will also release the teeth in a row to deal a second instance of damage to whatever target you are fighting. If you deliver a critical hit from above, it will do a AoE splash underneath and briefly release some vexes. Invoker's Wrath is a sword and so can be enchanted with a bunch of different swords enchantments, and Sweeping Edge increases the range of the teeth. Now we move on to the wands. Empty wands are found inside bastions. The netherite wand can then be combined with one of 3 items to turn into an elemental wand. Taking the empty wand and combining it with a fire charge on a crafting table by tossing them on top will give you the fire staff. Empty wand plus glowstone will give you the electric staff, and empty staff plus packed ice will give you the ice staff. Now, all of these items happen to be fishing rods, thus the sound effects. When they are held in your inventory, they take time to charge, and then they are ready to cast their spell. The fire staff launches a fireball and an explosion, lighting things on fire and dealing a small amount of explosion damage. The electric staff, I think one of the coolest effects, shoots out a line of particles that deal damage and a little bit of discharge while illuminating whenever they hit. The ice staff will shoot out a slow-moving block of ice, which when it hits the target will slow it greatly and deal a small amount of ice damage. Each of these items can be enchanted with fishing rod related enchantments. Lure will lower the cooldown of the staff, and Luck of the Sea will increase its range. Any of these staffs can also be wielded in the offhand rather than the main hand, allowing you to hold a sword with your main hand and the staff in the offhand. As most sword functionality comes from you pressing Shift, this allows you to press right click with the staff to use its effect, and then you can also hit the target with your sword while the staff is recharging, allowing you to wield both a staff and a sword at the same time in epic combination. The Bone Wand is found in Lost and Forgotten Cities. The Bone Wand has the rather strange power of letting you place bone blocks in the air by right-clicking with them. They can be placed either directly below your feet or as a slight step up, making it so you can basically walk along the air. They do have an amount of time they'll exist, so you can't last on them forever, but it does allow for fast and safe travel in certain areas. The Bone Wand can be enchanted with Lure and Luck of the Sea to increase the duration at which the bone blocks are placed, making it easier for you to travel through the air. A strange utility staff for movement and blocking up passages for a short duration. Magmus Charger is one of our crafted items. It is an upgrade for the bow, making it more nethery, attaching a netherite ingot to it, 6 fire charges and 1 block of gold to give us the Magmus Charger. The Magmus Charger is not fired like a normal bow. If simply drawn back, it will not fire the arrow but rather consume it. One must instead hold it down until they get to its first stage, or its second stage. Its first phase fires an arrow that releases a small flaming explosion at a slightly longer charge time than a normal bow. The second phase will release a much more powerful exploding arrow that releases a large fire explosion and a nice burst of pretty fireworks. Its long charge time makes it difficult to fire out, but it is quite useful against crowds of enemies. This bow is basically a normal bow, and so you can put all the normal bow enchantments on it as you like, meaning that you can put Power, Flame, Punch, and Infinity on it, making it so it will deal more damage and cause more knockback. The warped crossbow can be found in bastions. There's a small chance of spawning in a bastion chest, giving you this warped crossbow. Warped crossbow is weaker than a normal crossbow. However, its arrows fly straight. They do not fall off at all, but they do have a maximum range, disappearing after a short duration. This crossbow can be enchanted like a normal crossbow, thus giving you multiple infinite flying straight shots. The chainfire crossbow can be found at a pillager post. Chainfire crossbow fires multiple arrows at a rapid rate. This, however, seems semi-bugged, as it fires out the first 3 just fine, whilst the remaining shots bounce off each other and land at your feet, making me think that they have a slight time discrepancy between each other. Items seem semi-bugged, but conceptually is quite cool. You might also encounter pillagers wielding this crossbow against you. It too can be enchanted with multiple enchantments, and you can fire a triplet of arrows in front of you and a bunch of arrows to land directly in front of your face, making it impossible to aim. Thorn Blossom is one of our crafted items. It can be made in 2 different variants, diamond or normal, requiring spore blossoms, moss blocks, copper at the bottom, and an iron sword in the middle. If you want to make it with diamonds, you put 2 diamonds on the side rather than extra moss blocks. The diamond version has far higher durability and quite a bit more damage, so it's worthwhile to add diamonds to it. The power of Thorn Blossom is that if you hold down shift, you shoot out a short line of vines which act as a grappling hook. This grappling hook seems to really only work at short ranges and can be grappled to a target to deal a small amount of damage, or to a wall to deal a small little burst. You can also face directly down and just release a burst of thorns in all directions rather than hoping it randomly explodes against the target. The sword variants can also be combined with cherry blossoms in a cauldron to make them a cherry blossom version of themselves. The Diamond Sword Cherry Blossom variant looking particularly pretty in my estimate. The sword can be enchanted with Sweeping Edge to increase the range of the vine shot from, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3. It seems very small. Perhaps increases the range of the burst. Moon Edge is another crafted item. It is made with an iron sword, 2 diamonds, 4 amethysts, 1 ender pearl, and a golden apple to give you Moon's Edge. Slightly slower than Iron Sword, but dealing slightly more damage. Its main use is that when you hit a target, it releases a moon blade as well and charges up. The small moonbeam it shoots out deals damage mainly to the primary target, but when fully charged, releases a large moonbeam to deal damage to multiple targets all in a row. The main enchantment for the sword is Sweeping Edge, making it so the moon glaive travels faster. Endlight is a bow found in end cities. Has a small chance to be found in an end chest. And when fired, it charges up and releases a small bursting explosion of light. End Excalibur is also found in end cities. While held in your hand, the sword will slowly start to charge. Upon hitting a target while charged, it releases a massive explosion of damage. Its charge speed can be improved with the Sweeping Edge enchantment, making it charge a little bit faster. And our final weapon is Crucible. Crucible is crafted with the Broken Crucible, which can be found in bastions. It has the best chance of finding them in the primary bastion chest. Then Crucible must be combined with a block of redstone, a wither skull, and a netherite ingot on a crafting table. When all put together, Broken Crucible and those items, they will craft into the mighty Crucible's blade. Same stats as a diamond sword. However, every time you hit a target, it gains some small amount of charge. When fully charged, you can press shift to release an explosion to hit multiple targets. If you like, you can change Crucible's color by combining it inside a cauldron full of water with a dye of your choice. We could dye it green, giving ourselves a green Crucible, so now it has green particle effects. A lot of the powers I will note in this mod seem semi-inaccurate or semi-hard to hit with, which can make them rather frustrating to use. But as stated by the mod maker, it's not meant to be powerful, it's meant to change the gameplay and add a different dynamic to combat. I find the strangest thing is how you obtain items and how it's put together, not like a typical mod, as he said, but more of a resource pack. And well, a lot of the items are quite cool and have various different interesting designs. Wrapping my head around the crafting and obtaining these items makes it so I probably won't want to play with this mod in the future, but it's still interesting to look at and showcase at the very least. And I will say that one of the craftable items, being the Magmus Charger, is definitely one of my favorite modded bows I've come across, just using elements from the base game, but releasing very cool and pretty effects. Anyways, that's all from me for now, so thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I hope you all have a good one. And until then, goodbye.